Hey guys, and welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at the Nextorch TA30C, and as some of you would know who've been watching the channel for a while, I own a heap of Nextorch flashlights, have a really high opinion of them, and this is going to be one of my most used ones these days. So like I mentioned, it's the TA30C. It's been out for quite some time. I only just managed to get hold of one. Nextorch actually sent this to me as a free sample for the purposes of this review. One of the first things that I've noticed about this light is that it fits really easily in the palm of your hand. So this is the box that the TA30C comes in, and there's some basic specifications on the front: 1600 lumens, one-step strobe technology. You've got nano ceramic window breaking beads here in the front. It's even won a Red Dot award. If we look here on the back, you can pause the video and check out some of the specifications here as well. Moving that over to the side, I'll just show you exactly what you get in the box. Okay, so you don't get this ring. I had that sent to me separately by Nextorch, but obviously you get the TA30C Max here on the side. You have a 2600 milliamp cell, 18650 cell, and it comes with a USB-C charging port here on the side. You get this here. It's an adapter CR123 magazine, so you can put a couple of primaries in there. Really important if you're in law enforcement, or if you just want to carry around a bunch of spare primaries with you when you run out of juice. So over here you've got another lanyard, a basic sort of lanyard there. I don't use them much myself. Got a USB-C charging cable, got about 100 of these so far, a couple of spare O-rings, and the instruction manual, which is really basic. I mean, one of the things that I find with Nextorch flashlights, I don't even need to read the manual. It's just so easy to figure out intuitively. So Nextorch have kindly sent me the FR1 Tactical Ring and also one of these V31 Holsters. And I'll go through the functions of each of these just to show you how they're installed and how they make your life a little bit easier as well. So these actually pair perfectly with the TA30C. So you've got the FR1 ring here, and essentially you just put it over the top. There's a little indent there, and just put that over the top of the clip. Okay, locks into place, kind of hold it there, and you just screw the end of the flashlight on, and there you have it. Fits on very snugly. You put your, I basically just hold it, put the middle finger through here, and have the index finger up the top here, and of course the thumb here on the end for that button. So really quite easy to hold on. You can keep this in your pocket as is, or you can keep it in the holster. So in the pocket, I find is pretty easy. You just sort of clip that onto the edge of your jeans pocket, or your pants pocket, and if you need to grab it out, it's very easy. Just put your finger through there and pull it out of your jeans. Simple. This is the V31 Holster that fits the TA30C, and basically what you do with the FR1 ring on, you slide that in like that and lock it into place. So if you try to pull it out while it's locked in here, you can't. All you do is just sort of slide it through the center and you're able to pull it out. It's very easy to deploy and sort of stow away. It looks very professional as well. So here in the back of the holster, there's a little locking mechanism. So you pull that downwards, it's spring loaded. And here you basically just clip that onto your belt. Now, the interesting thing is that there's a little section here that you can shift up and down. So depending on the width of your belt, it can fit many different sort of belt widths in here as well, which is really useful. So you can have like a snug sort of fit, clips down like that. Another cool thing as well is you can pull this top bit off like that, and then it rotates. So if you, for example, just want some, the light attached to your belt with the light facing forward, and then you can actually turn the light on using the ring at the back there. You can have some hands-free use as well. Really useful. I find that this little system here as well, it's really, really, like, you really have to sort of give it a good twist to get it to attach, and then of course you lock it in place. Okay, so it doesn't wiggle around, but very simple. Open if you want to just move it around. Also a way to detach this belt lock mechanism if you want. Just sort of push this inwards and pull, and so you can detach them. And the holster is used by the German, Austrian, and Swiss police forces. The holster is made out of glass-filled polyamide, which is a special material known for its high rigidity, mechanical strength, hardness. It's a very tough material, and I think it's over-engineered in my opinion, which is a good thing. I mean, looking at the holster, it's certainly a little chunkier than those nylon material holsters that you normally get with flashlights, but this one's definitely going to last longer, and the fact that it's got all these additional functions of it make it quite unique as well. So I definitely recommend it if you're looking to get one. So here's a bit of a comparison, a size comparison between the TA30C with a few other tactical flashlights I have here. Nightcore MH12 SE, which is actually a 21700 cell light. I've got my Phoenix PD35R and Olight Warrior Mini 3, and you can see, look, the bezel is definitely larger than all the others that you have around here, but you do have some additional functionality. You've got these anti-roll cutout features on the head. You've got obviously got this crenulated bezel with glass breaking beads, and I do notice as well that the glass and the LED is a lot more recessed on the Nextorch, which allows it more protection when you're breaking a window. If you have to use that bezel, it makes it less likely that you're actually going to break the glass lens there. So here's a close-up of the Nextorch TA30C, and high quality machining as usual by Nextorch. I love the anodization on all of my Nextorch lights. They use a really grippy matte black finish. You'd be surprised just how much grip that you have on it, and so they can get away with having just as basic square cut anodized threads. You notice that some other manufacturers will use quite an aggressive thread pattern, but they don't need to use it here with this grippy anodization. There's no charging port on the light itself, so you'll need to take the battery out separately to charge it. So here's what the light looks like under the bezel. We've got the SST40 emitter, little white retaining ring down at the bottom, gasket, and you've got a smooth reflector, which is quite interesting given that all my other Nextorch flashlights all have orange peel reflectors, so this one definitely will maximize the amount of throw that you get out of this flashlight. This LED, titanium strike bezel as well, and you can see those three beads, those three strike beads here on the side. Does raise the bezel a little bit like I mentioned before, but at the same time protects the lens and the LED. On the tail end of the flashlight, you can see that there's this little rotating switch. So you can see here there's a little white dot, and you just rotate this to whichever mode that you want to activate. So it's the before it was on tac mode, but you've got 1, 2, 3 strobe. Sort of change that around. You've got this, as you can see here, battery indicator on the back. Okay, and you've got basically a two-stage button. So you full press for strobe and half press for your normal high mode. So the UI is just so simple to use. I didn't even have to figure out this through the instruction manual. Nextorch make it so easy. Half press to access the momentary mode on high, and it's, look, I wouldn't say it's super light. You do have to put in a little bit of pressure, but when you press that button all the way down to access that strobe mode, there's a significant amount of energy you got to put in, so you really got to press almost twice as hard. So that transition between that half press and full press, yeah, you're not going to accidentally activate strobe if you're just walking around casually and you're half pressing it. It's, yeah, definitely not going to. But here you've got this rotating switch, which is great because obviously you don't want to be holding down that button all the time. You can just actually just put it on one of these lower modes, first mode, second mode here, if you only need a little bit of light. Now the cool thing is in any of these other modes, so even if you're in that lower first mode there, one step mode, you can half press again to access turbo and strobe from any other mode. Okay, so for example, you could just be using a low mode, but you need to suddenly go to access that turbo, bang, you can get that quite easily. And of course you got that strobe mode, and that doesn't do anything if you press that tail switch. So I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests with the Nextorch TA30C, and this is on the high mode. You can see that I've activated the light on 100%, and just over a minute it starts ramping down, and you can see there it starts going down all the way to about 35%, okay, at 2.5 minutes. And I tried to reactivate turbo again. It does go up again, a little bit lower than the first time I activated turbo, but you still get about a minute of runtime before the light starts stepping down once more. And I did this another time and eventually actually stepped down to just over 20%. But it is fantastic that you get a decent minute of runtime before the light actually starts stepping down, considering how small it is. Here's another ceiling bounce test that I ran on the medium mode, and it basically just held 100% for the entire duration of the test. So I ran a bunch of tests with my Opal Light Master Pro, and on the high mode, I got 338 meters of throw. Really impressive. I think it has to do with this aluminium, this smooth aluminium reflector in there. The bezel was a bit larger. Obviously it does sort of jut out a tiny bit, but you get that additional throw. 66.7 CRI, so it is on the low end, but this light is not designed for color recognition. It's more for visibility, and you can see with the CCT ranges goes up from 5,600 to 6,000 K, so it's definitely more on the cooler end. This flashlight produces a really nice beam. It's got a combo of flood and throw. You don't get any ringiness in the beam as well, and I like how the hotspot blends more into the spill nicely, and that's one of the advantages of having that SST40 in there. So some considerations you'll want to be aware of. Like I said, there's no onboard charging, but I don't mind this for tactical lights. It feels more structurally sound. I'm not worried about water getting into the ports or sand, stuff like that. Another thing is that the edges of the beam show the bezel cutouts due to this recessed lens design. But this is another feature that I like in tactical lights. I can put up with it just because it makes it harder for you to damage the lens if you were to break a window. The TA30C is also pricier than your usual budget tactical flashlights that you find out there, but you do get some unique features and a much higher construction quality as well. It would have been nice if Nextorch included an option to put in an SFT40 in there just to maximize that throw. Though with the Smooth Reflector, it does make up for it even with your SST40 in there. I think 300 meters of range is still very respectable for a light of this size. So overall, the Nextorch TA30C earns a place in my top 3 tactical EDC flashlights. It's the perfect size to carry around. I do have a lot of other tactical flashlights, and I find that they just end up being too big for me to chuck in the pocket, and this is the one I tend to grab when I go out at night just because it's so much more convenient, and you still get a lot of brightness out of it as well. I really like the UI. The rotating switch makes it perfect not only for tactical use but as an EDC light, you know, these lower modes. I highly recommend the TA30C if you're looking for a top quality pocketable tactical flashlight. I've left a link in the description if you're interested in getting one. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor and click the like button. It just helps me get the video out to more people. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews, make sure you subscribe. Nextorch TA30C. It's the highest mode and quite easily hitting the trees all the way out the back there. Looks a little bit brighter than on the camera, but close. Of course, everything close up is pretty simple, able to line everything up, and you can see on the ground there's a fair bit of spill, but the edges of the beam have these little dips just due to the crenulation, but it doesn't really bug me. Okay, put it on the lowest mode. This is the lowest mode. Yeah, you can still see ahead about 5-10 meters quite well. Medium, and this one has nice extended runtime. Can't quite hit those trees in the back, but everything close by is absolutely fine, as you can see. Strobe. highest mode. Very impressive beam. Nextorch TA30C, low, medium, high. And I mean, this is pretty impressive. It's reaching the end, hitting those trees quite easily. One thing I like about it is how useful the hotspot is. You get a lot of spill, but the hotspot just blends nicely into that spill. And it's quite a large hotspot as well. Medium mode. Still pretty good. High. Look at that.